And now, ladies and gentlemen, rolling right along with our bombastic review, we have a great show for you tonight. Lynde made America laugh for decades. But on July 18, 1965, something happened in a San Francisco hotel that changed everything. His friend fell from an 8th-floor window while Paul desperately tried to save him. After that night, the jokes got sharper. The drinking got worse. The man who delivered perfect one-liners on Hollywood squares was drowning in guilt. His final years tell a story Hollywood tried to hide, one that explains why the laughter always felt so desperate. Paul Lynde was born on June 13, 1926 in Mount Vernon, Ohio. His parents, Hoy and Sylvia, ran a meat market and their large family of 6 kids lived in an apartment right above it. His dad also served as the local sheriff, which meant Paul spent part of his childhood living above the county jail. The small town had just 15,000 people. Everyone knew everyone's business. This world of small-town gossip and daily drama shaped Paul's sharp, watchful humor. He sang in the church choir, won a scholarship to summer music school, and performed in school concerts. Even after fame came, Paul always spoke fondly of Mount Vernon. He credited it with teaching him resilience and the values that helped him make it in showbiz. When Paul was 18, tragedy struck. His beloved older brother, Cordy, who was just 21, died in 1944 during the Battle of the Bulge. At first, Cordy was listed as missing in action, leaving the family in torment. His body wasn't found until 1949. By then, grief had already claimed both of Paul's parents. They died within weeks of each other, broken by the weight of their loss. Paul was only 23, and suddenly alone in the world. That deep heartbreak shaped him forever. His biting humor, his self-deprecating jokes, these weren't just for laughs. They were his armor. His comedy was a way to survive the sorrow that never really left him. Long before he dreamed of Broadway, Paul had already been swept up by the magic of performance. He was about 4 or 5 when his mother took him to see the silent film Ben-Hur at the local theater, the Grand Chariot races, the epic sets. It was a lightning bolt. From that day he was hooked. Movies became his escape. He would sneak off to see Laurel and Hardy or Buster Keaton, losing himself in their world of humor and wonder. That early spark from Ben-Hur set him on a path that led all the way to the stage. In high school, Paul made sure people noticed him. He played bass drum in the school band, booming his way through performances. He also sang in the choir and was a soloist. In school concerts, he wasn't an athlete or a top student, but he was the class clown. Jokes helped him deflect teasing about his weight and mannerisms. Humor became his shield and his spotlight. He graduated in 1944, already aware that making people laugh was more than a defense. It was his calling. After high school, Paul went to Northwestern University in Illinois. He joined in 1944 studying speech and drama. He wasn't just another student. He was surrounded by future stars like Charlton H., Cloris Leachman, and Patricia Neal. Paul became known for his outrageous humor and wild stories. He joined Phi Kappa Sigma fraternity and acted in campus plays, sharpening his unique style. He graduated in 1948 with solid training, lifelong friends, and a ticket out of small-town life. That same year, at 22, Paul moved to New York City. He juggled late-night stand-up gigs at No. 15th Avenue with day jobs as a busboy, waiter, and soda jerk. The crowds were tough, the pay was worse, but those grueling years shaped his craft. He learned to read a room, time a punchline, and survive in a city still reeling from war. His break came in 1952 with New Faces of 1952. His monologue about a disastrous African safari where he stood on crutches and delivered a hilarious tale of misfortune became a sensation. The show ran for hundreds of performances and made it to film. Paul's dark, subversive humor stood out in a time when most comics played it safe. He wasn't just funny. He was unforgettable. Yet success didn't come easy after that. For 8 years, Paul took whatever gigs he could. Guest spots on radio, small parts on variety shows, voice roles where no one even saw his face. He performed tirelessly, sometimes at several venues in a day. He became known in comedy circles as a genius even if the wider public hadn't caught on yet. Things began to change in 1960. Paul became a regular on The Perico Show and The Red Button Show. Now, millions saw him every week. He was part of the Kraft Music Hall players working alongside big names like Don Adams. TV was taking over American entertainment, and Paul was right there stealing scenes with just a few lines. All this time, the pain of losing his parents in 1949 stayed with him. They had both died in their early 50s, just months apart. Paul was far from home trying to make it in New York when the news came. The double loss left him deeply scarred. Friends said that grief fueled both his brilliance and his struggles. His humor had a shadow to it, one that made people laugh, but also hinted at the sorrow underneath. When Paul Lynde got the part of Harry McAfee in Bye Bye Birdie on Broadway in 1960, his life changed. The show opened on April 14, 1960 at the Martin Beck Theater. It poked fun at the frenzy over Elvis Presley's draft. Paul played the confused suburban dad and people loved him. His line, "Ed Sullivan, I love Ed Sullivan," became famous. Everyone copied it. Critics praised him. The New York Times called his performance brilliant comic invention. That one role made Paul a Broadway star. It also changed how audiences saw the musical comedy father. No longer just serious or strict, the dad could be funny, awkward, and sweet at the same time. Even today, people say Paul's Harry McAfee proved that a supporting role could steal the whole show. Paul's success on stage led to something rare. When Hollywood made the movie version in 1963, they didn't replace him with a bigger star. They kept Paul. He returned as Harry McAfee, joined by Dick Van Dyke, Janet Leigh, and Anne Margaret. The film came out on April 4, 1963, and made over $13 million. That was a big number.